Hello friends, I am the Anti-Terrorist. Thank you again for all of your messages, your support, and for being part of the conversation. Well, let me create the context for this conversation by saying that I hope by now you know who I am. At least through listening to my previous broadcasts, you would have a sense that I do not make emotional statements and I only present facts in my arguments. But I'm hoping by now you get a sense that you can trust what I say is the truth. At least you trust what I say has facts to back it up. So, with that in mind, I would like to talk about Ron Paul.
I'm Ron Paul. I'm a congressman from Texas, serving in my 10th term. I am the champion of the Constitution.
And by that I mean I want to talk about the man, Ron Paul, not about his policies. This is not a political discussion that I'd like to have with you. At least not right now. Perhaps at the end of this broadcast I may address the policy issue. But I'd like to talk about integrity, and what integrity means to you and what you expect of your politicians.
Congressman Ron Paul, you appear to have consistent, principled integrity. Americans don't usually go for that.
Now, at the risk of alienating half of my audience by being so simplistic, I'd like to break down the definition of integrity for you, so that we all know what we're talking about. The dictionary definition of integrity goes like this. Basically, it means honor, but the synonyms are candor, forthrightness, goodness, honestness, honesty, honorableness, incorruptibility, incorruption, principle, probity, purity, rectitude, righteousness, sincerity, straightforwardness, uprightness, and virtue. And to simplify it even further, I would say that ethics and moral behavior is the basis for integrity. And integrity is the foundation for everything we do in life. Integrity is when you can look in the mirror and say to yourself, I did the right thing. Not the most popular thing or the most beneficial thing, but the right thing. Now, I don't care if you're a murderer, a petty thief, or a priest, everyone knows what is right. In life, when you come to a fork in the road and there's a good way and a bad way, you know immediately which way the good way is. It's usually the hardest way, unfortunately. Well, if you haven't figured out by now, going by my accent, I'm obviously English. I've lived in the United Kingdom all my life, and I have a huge interest in British and American politics, because I know what's coming. Now, why am I talking about Ron Paul? He's not even a British politician. He has nothing to do with British politics. Well, the truth is we don't have anyone, not a single candidate in British politics has Ron Paul's passion, commitment, and integrity, more importantly. Now, I like to think I'm fairly politically aware, but I can't think of any other time in history that a politician, let alone a underdog politician, has been funded so completely by his constituents as Ron Paul is right now. He has millions coming in from people donating freely from their own money to his campaign. All of the other politicians, every single one of his competitors, has some corporate interest. They are all getting money from corporations. And if you think for a second that money has zero conditions attached, then you are kidding yourself. Ron Paul answers to the people. The other politicians answer to the corporations.
What about Clinton? Is there any hope in Clinton? There's no fucking hope in Clinton. They're all the same. I'll show you politics in America. Here it is, right here. I think the puppet on the right shares my beliefs. I think the puppet on the left is more to my liking. Hey, wait a minute. There's one guy holding up both puppets. Shut up. Go back to bed, America. Your government is in control.
Besides that very obvious aspect, I would ask you to take a look at some of the footage of Ron Paul in debate on YouTube. Just for a short while, just as an exercise if you like. Revisit some of those debates on YouTube and compare Ron Paul to the rest of the politicians in the debate. And judge for yourself. Just close your eyes and listen to the message, and you'll get a sense of how passionate these people are, how committed they are to the promises they're making. Listen to how often Ron Paul's competitors make personal attacks on him, or they make a cheap joke in order to take attention away from a piece of truth that Ron Paul may have just delivered. And then you take a look at Ron Paul himself. Take a look at his body language. Take a look at his eyes. We're talking about a man here who is in his mid-70s. The man has a fire in his eyes I've never seen in a politician before. We're not talking about an ambitious man here. We're talking about a man who wants to make a difference before he leaves this earthly plane. That is what sets him apart from the other politicians. They're all looking for political power, money, the next big house, the next big career move, whatever it is. You can get a sense of that. And then most importantly, look at his message. Look at the way he delivers his message. I haven't seen Ron Paul once, not once, in 2 years of watching him, make a personal attack on another politician. Even in defense of a personal attack on himself, he will stick to the policy and stick to the truth. He doesn't engage in cheap tactics. Again, don't take my word for it. Do some research. Look into who's funding these other politicians. Look into which associations they belong to, which affiliations they have with certain banking companies and banking personalities. Look into who is associated with the Council on Foreign Relations. Look into who's associated with David Rockefeller, for instance.
Council on Foreign Relations provides a window to the real story. The speaker, Vice President Dick Cheney, takes a question from David Rockefeller.
Vice President, I just enjoyed so much your whole speech, but I was particularly pleased that you gave such a strong endorsement for the free trade agreement for all the Americas, subject that has been of great concern to me for many years, and particularly recently, and I think it's absolutely essential for the strength of our economy.
Rockefeller's role in the drive for an FTAA was a lot more central than he portrays. Rockefeller cultivated Latin American leaders who could be counted on to support such a proposal. Both the 1994 Miami Summit and the FTAA proposal were conceived and nurtured by a Rockefeller-created network. Prominent among the organizations sponsoring the Miami event were the Council of the Americas, founder and honorary chairman David Rockefeller, the Americas Society, chairman David Rockefeller, the Forum of the Americas, founder David Rockefeller, the Institute for International Economics, financial backer and board member David Rockefeller, the Trilateral Commission, founder and honorary chairman David Rockefeller. Rockefeller's influence also extends to the current administration. He was chairman emeritus of the CFR when Vice President Dick Cheney once served as a director, a relationship that Cheney concealed during his congressional career.
It's good to be back at the Council on Foreign Relations. As Pete mentioned, I've been a member for a long time and was actually a director for some period of time. I never mentioned that when I was campaigning for re-election back home in Wyoming.
In fair and balanced media, do you understand why Ron Paul's not getting any airtime? Do you know who owns the media? You need to start joining the dots and figuring out how this whole game works and who the puppet master is. So, to answer the question, I am pushing Ron Paul right now to all of my friends in this country and in the United States, because I believe he is the only candidate with enough integrity, enough courage to change the status quo and to make a difference in this world, and to stop the things that are happening that are leading us inevitably towards the New World Order. RFID chips, the identity card, the control of the banking cartels over our lives. So with regards to policies, it's all a puppet show, all of it. Everything that's being said outside of what Ron Paul has to offer, it's all puppetry, smoke and mirrors. Forget about it. Hillary is a friend of the Bushes. She has been dining with them and holidaying with them for years. This faux opposition she has towards the war is all smoke and mirrors and nonsense. The definition of madness is to keep doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result. You are not going to get the result you want. They're moving forward with their agenda, and the only person that can stop it is Ron Paul. He is for the Constitution, he's for the people, and you need to vote for him. Now, if he does get elected and he does win the presidency, this is what I believe he's going to have to face when he gets there.
I had this feeling who's ever elected president, like Clinton was, no matter what your promises you promise on the campaign trail, blah, 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 when you win, you go into this smoky room with the 12 industrialist, capitalist scumfucks who got you in there, and you're in this smoky room, and this little film screen comes down, and a big guy in a cigar rolled the film. And it's a shot of a Kennedy assassination from an angle you've never seen before. It looks suspiciously off the grassy knoll. And then the screen goes up and the lights come up and they go to the new president. Any questions?
If you win, Ron, they're going to offer you more money than you've ever seen in your life, and they will offer you more for your children and your children's children and your children's grandchildren. They will offer them protection. They will offer you security for your downline forever. It's a lot to turn down. It's a massive temptation. I hope that your integrity and your courage and your strength of will enables you to resist that temptation. Please, vote Ron Paul in 2008. Thanks for listening.